while we're waiting, if you guys haven't done the study habits Google form in the life skills class, you guys could go do that, and I will still give you your full points for it, even though it's late. Okay? Unless Mrs. Walker has something for us to do.
Oh, it's just, did you guys get the notes from last week? Or just so I know, give me a nod of the head if you got notes for like prejudice, colossal, incubus. Did you guys get those? No? Okay. Let's see. If you guys will let me see. So if you guys get on to your classroom, let's see. Okay, so you guys work on your life skills for a little bit, and then I'm going to add this updated notes for you. That way you'll have it. And just stay with me, and I'll just, because your guys's aren't updated on yours, so I'll just send you an update of the notes. And then while we're waiting, just work on your life skills like Hannah wanted you to. That would be good.
You guys have any questions on your resumes? So all of your resumes are turned in and ready to be graded.
I believe that.
Man, thought we were on the right track there. Same track of mind.
This is week 4, isn't it?
Yes. Hey, welcome back.
Sorry, Hannah, I just got your message. We were in a meeting.
Sorry.
No, don't worry about it.
You're good to share, Tracy, whenever.
Okay. I am just making updated notes for them, so we'll move on. Okay. This is the second, this is literature 2. Okay. All right. Okay, so I just shared with you guys these notes. Okay, it has these words here. So it's the updated. So if you've missed or you've lost focus, whatever the reason might be, here's some updated notes for you, okay? So you're gonna have a little bit of a quiz next week over some of the terms we went through. So beware. I will send you what terms I'm going to want you to know. That way you're not like sitting in anxiety, like, oh my gosh, I don't know what to learn or what to study. So I won't give you that stress. So, but I will let you know. So make sure the vocabulary to know. These are some terms that come from the poem, The Obstacle, that we kind of introduced last week. So that's what those are: colossal, prejudice, Solomon. Solomon is a little bit tricky. Some of you are like, that's a biblical term. Well, no, I mean, it's a name from the Bible, but just remember, it also refers to a wise and knowledgeable person that has some great ideas. What? So that's what when we refer to someone as a Solomon, maybe that's your buddy that has all the ideas, and that's who you look for to help you out with your tests and studying for things. So that might be the Solomon in your life. Someone that's obdurate is stubborn, pelted, like you pelted somebody with a snowball. Okay. Belaboured is someone that you might have argued. Belaboured means to argue. Okay, so what you might do with, maybe you have a little brother or sister that you argue with quite often. So belaboured. Ecstasy comes with, like, it's an overwhelming feeling that comes over you, and she'll discuss that in the poem. Incubus is something that's you know, we have a lot of stresses and something that causes that agitation in our life. You know, when we say, what's wrong with you? Or what's your chip? You know, it's like a chip on your shoulder or something that's going on. And there's a reason for it. And that's the incubus. That's the reason, that's the cause, okay, of your anxieties, okay? It could be that, you know, my son has a root canal tomorrow. And, you know, it's causing him a lot of anxiety, along with me a lot of anxiety, because I'm the mom. So, and at 19, you shouldn't be having a root canal. So, so that's an incubus for us. Okay. So, all right. So any questions on that? The other one that I mentioned was illusion. Make sure you have that one. I know that one I'm going to add to the quiz next week. It'll just be a little quiz, won't be a lot of terms, just some things that I really would like you to know. So illusion, make sure the last example there on illusion talks about the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. That's probably one of the best examples of illusion that I could give you, because whoever, you know, the author of, whoever made up the whole Ninja Turtle thing used famous Italian artists, okay, for that particular, for their names, okay, Donatello, Michelangelo, Leonardo, and Raphael. So that's the depiction of illusion, as giving, when you refer to a famous person or event or a book or a thing in history. And that's what they did with that Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle names. Okay. I used to know why they named, but I don't remember anymore. My memory's gone. Okay, so personification, guys, that's another term that, I know you've used, and most of you know it. Some of you may not know it when it comes to literature. And like, I know what that is. You know, it's not really giving, I mean, the table's not really running away. So we're giving human, life to that table. So we're personifying it, okay? So when we say the branches danced in the sky, or the branches danced in the wind, well, that's a human quality, because dancing is something that, more or less humans are considered to do more than trees. Okay, so personification is one of those terms that's going to be used on the obstacle poem all the way through. So that one, I know that you're going to Symbolism is something bigger than yourself. In that, again, in that poem, prejudice symbolizes something bigger. People that discriminate against others, okay, that's something bigger. So it's actually a symbol of discrimination. So symbolism is also used heavily in that poem. Okay. So I updated that for you. We're good there. So I want to move on to the actual poem. You guys are supposed to watch the TED Talk. Okay. On your own. So can we discuss that a little bit? My computer's not moving. And it's still not moving. There we go. Okay. All right. The TED Talk is, did everybody watch it? Everybody get through it? Thumbs up? Yeah? Did it? Yeah? Elizabeth did. Eve, did you watch it? Good? Yeah? Pretty interesting. I mean, I know you guys at your age, it's hard to get into TED Talk sometimes, but I used it to just give you a good relation to the poem, to kind of help you understand what's going on in the poem better, I think. Sometimes visually and auditorily, we understand things better if we have something to correlate it to. So why I gave that out there to you. Well, I didn't. Michael Kimmel did. I just kind of found it. So when we discussed that TED Talk, those are the last questions on this, okay? And it talked about how does the TED Talk by Michael Kimmel relate to the poem? Can anybody answer that for me? Anybody turn off their mute button and shout out an answer to that? How does the TED Talk by Michael Kimmel relate to the poem? What was actually he discussing in his speech? What is he, isn't he, when he talks about gender equality, isn't he talking more or less about, women being discriminated against in the work world and family life and so to speak, and talking about how, if men would do their part, it makes for a happier family, it makes for a happier work world, it makes for a happier country. He's done the research, and it goes back, the research has been given over, different various workplaces, family institutions for a number of years. And it, he talks about how, we're just happier people if both females and males are, have a shared responsibility, okay, in the workplace or family, okay. So he also talks a little bit about race. He talks about how, when he was together with a group of women, there was a Black woman in the mix, and the women were talking about how, they're just, when they look in the mirror, they see a woman, and then the Black woman, she said, no, I don't think that's true for all women. And she says, I see a Black woman. That's who I see. And he talks about how, race is kind of an invisible thing to some of us, especially to, whites in nature, that we don't actually see race, where other people of different cultures actually, it's visible to them because they live it. They get treated differently. They get spoken to differently. And so, if he says that, if we would learn to make race visible and understand it and actually go out of our way to meet those feelings and emotions of all different races and genders of people, then we become a happier country, business, family. So anyway, hope you got that. Two examples of discrimination he speaks of. Okay, we talked about, about gender, females, and race, what color you are. So how is gender equality good for countries, according to Kimmel? He gave some great examples there in his speech. He talks about, how for countries, he talks about like how they score higher on the happiness scale, so to speak. He also talks about how the job turnover is lower. He talks about how there's a higher rate of productivity, more things get produced. So there's several things that he talks about for countries and how it's a good thing for them, for equal rights, equal gender equality is important. And then it also has several examples of how it's good for businesses. So you just had to look through there and figure those out on your own. And then 14, you guys didn't have that you didn't have that question on your assignment, but it says describe a prejudice that you or someone you know deals with daily or frequently. Okay, do you have to be Black to be discriminated against? Do you have to be female? Okay, you could be a child and be discriminated against, even just because you're a child and we don't think that you have all the knowledge and experience to be able to, people in the workforce, they have struggled to get a job because they lack the experience. Is that discriminating, or is that form of prejudice? Can be, okay? It's prejudgment. Just because I don't have the experience doesn't mean that I'm not gonna do just as well as anybody out there, right? So a lot of you guys will come across that because it's gonna be hard for you to get a job just because you don't have the experience. When you're like, how do I get the experience? So you're gonna run across that in the work world when you're trying to get a job sometimes. So anyway, I just wanted to give your idea. Anybody have anything you want to add to that? The prejudice that you or someone else deals with daily or frequently. Anybody want to add to that? Talk about it, discuss it. Emily? You usually have lots of thoughts. I know you don't want to listen to me the whole time. Okay. All right, well, I'm gonna go on. All right, you guys, so the questions on the obstacle, all right, these are some questions that I want to go through a few of these just to make sure you got them, and then I'll leave you with homework. Okay, so on the obstacle, the poem actually dealt with lost the poem. Okay, so it actually deals with this prejudice, who is given this human qualities, okay, again, that's personified as, huge and Hulk looking, and, who wants to face the Hulk, right? So, we all have a tendency to get scared or intimidated by people who we think are better just because they have more experience, or maybe they have more knowledge, or maybe they look smarter, or they're taller, or whatever it might be. We have these intimidation factors, okay? So that's what this prejudice is actually referring to. It's, it's this colossal being, not actually, so it's giving this personified feeling of being huge and someone we just don't want to mess with, okay? So the very first stanza it says this female climbing up a mountain path. Well, if you're climbing up a mountain path, you guys, you know, there's going to be all kinds. There's going to be snakes. There's going to be bears. There's going to be trees in the way. There's going to be lots of foliage and thorns you maybe have to go through. And that's just symbolizing struggles, okay, that we face. Struggles that we face every day of your life. You're going to have some kind of struggle. Might be big, might be minute, but you're going to face some struggles. And that's really what she's referring to. And she says she's got all these obligations, these many things to do, important business of my own and other people's too. When I ran against the prejudice that quite cut off my view. So this big hulking prejudice is in her way. She's got all these things to do, all these obligations to meet of hers and, you know, of her own and other people's, and she can't do it because people are, you know, she feels like she's being discriminated against. She's listening to all these comments about her ideas and how she's, you know, and people aren't listening. So she's like, I don't know what to do. I can't do anything because this prejudice is in my way. She goes on in the second stanza, she says, my work was such as could not wait. My path quite clearly showed. My strength and the time were limited. I carried quite a load. And there that hulking prejudice sat all across the road. Okay, all these domineering words, like hulking, okay, is just too much to handle. So this person was quite intimidated by this men probably in her life that she couldn't get anything done. She just couldn't get her ideas crossed. She couldn't be a team member because this man or these men are totally in her way, okay? So she tries this. So she tries to speak to him politely, for he was huge and high, and begged that he would move a bit and let me travel by. So that was her, you know, her first thing she tried to do. She tried to speak to him politely, okay? But nah, he smiled. But as for moving, he didn't even try. Like that didn't work. So secondly, she tries to reason with him, okay? This colossal mule, colossal is huge. My time was short, no other path, the mountain winds were cool. I argued like a Solomon. He sat there like a fool. So here she was arguing all this knowledgeable facts and ideas and trying to get things, you know, trying to get her ways and her you know, some of these great activities planned, but, you know, like a Solomon being very wise, but you're just stupid. Yeah, I don't need your ideas. That's what he sat there. So the next thing she does, so she's growing more agitated, she's growing more mad. She says, she flew into a passion, and I danced and I howled and I swore. I pelted and belabored him till I was stiff and sore. So she had a fit. Okay, she started arguing with him and, you know, just blew up. And he did the same thing. You know how people argue, you get mad and you get agitated and your voices start rising, and well, that's what he did. You know, he argued back. Great. But he sat there as before. That didn't help either. So then she starts begging, please, please. I might be kneeling still. If so, I hope to move that mass of obdurate ill will. This obdurate ill will, like ill will is someone that has lots of negative feelings. So he's just being very stubborn, like he just won't move. And she says, as well invite the monument to vacate Bunker Hill. Like she begged him and like, could you just leave, please, so I can, you know, move on with my day and get my job done. But she's got this monument. Bunker Hill's a big battle site, and there's a big statue, a huge statue that cannot be moved. And that's what she's referring to here. She's alluding, this is an allusion to Bunker Hill, right? So there's this huge statue. She can't move it. So she sits there helpless in an ecstasy of woe. She's got this overwhelming feeling. What does she do? The mountain mists were rising fast, the sun was sinking slow, when a sudden inspiration came, as sudden winds do blow. She's got this epiphany. I took my hat, I took my stick, my load I settled fair. I approached that awful incubus. Okay, what's that? We got that incubus there. Remember that term? With an absent-minded air. And I walked directly through him as if I wasn't there. Okay, so she approached her stress, her anxiety. She faced it. You know, like we say, if you face your fears, it'll just destroy them, right? Well, you know, sometimes our fear of heights can be pretty strong, you know, and if you get up high on a building and you're, you know, and it's not feeling, your whole body's becoming sick, sometimes it's not the right move. But, you know, in some cases she faced her fear, she faced her stresses or anxiety, and she just ignored it. She just ignored all the comments about her. She ignored all the, you know, the discrimination issues against her, and she just went on by. She just went through her day and she just did it. She got her plans done and just, you know, she decided to just ignore the drama, ignore the gossip, and move on. So, and that's what she did. All right, so you guys, when you go to the obstacle, okay, so it talks about, number one, about the setting, okay? The setting is the time and place. How does it contribute to the central theme? Theme is the main message, right? Or, of course, our main message has to do with prejudice, right? Or being discriminated against. So if you look at those questions, which one of those is accurately contributes to the theme or the message of the story? How does that setting? Because she's facing lots of struggles, right? We've discussed in that first line, lots of struggles going on in her life. And we discussed that, mountain, climbing a mountain, and that depicts those struggles that you have to face, okay? Shout out an answer, Devin. So your setting, here's your mountain path, right? And talking about the upward struggles. So here's that struggles. So this setting, it really relates to the theme of resilience in the face of adversity. So it relates to those conflicts that we face every day with discrimination.
It said B in the chat.
Good job. Good job. All right, so number 2 has to do with the summary. And guys, if you just go back through the poem, I don't want to spend too much time on that. But if you'll just give me like 4 different lines of what's going on, like her ideas. So this woman faces prejudice, right? First, she's polite and tries to speak to him, but he doesn't move. Then she tries to reason with him, but again, he just treats her like a fool. Then she gets all mad and has a fit and argues, but nothing changed. Then she starts begging him, but again, he would not vacate or leave. And then her final inspiration was just to ignore it and move on. Okay? So if you guys will go through and just list, 4 or 5 things that she did to get rid of prejudice in her life, that will be great. Okay? Make sure you try to write in complete thoughts the best you can. It is a summary. So try to write in complete thoughts and make sure that you just get those 4 or 5 different events that happened while she was trying to rid prejudice in her life. Okay? Questions? We're good with the summary? Okay. Number 3, which of the following best explains the reference or the allusion to the monument of Bunker Hill? Shout out an answer. Eve, shout out an answer to that one.
Would it be B? I had to read through them, sorry.
It is, yeah. Talks about how on the Bunker Hill and how stubborn he was. Yeah, he's so huge in his stubbornness that he just wouldn't move. So letter D is correct. Good job. The level of stubbornness, like a massive monument. Okay, number 4 has to do what evidence supports that answer. Okay, of course, for the evidence, if you go back to the poem, it talks about this obdurate ill will, the stubborn, negativity that this prejudice has. She's kneeling, she's begging him to try to, in hopes that she's going to move that mass, that huge statue. So, Emily, which one of those do you think?
Could you repeat the question real quick?
Which of the following phrases best supports the answer to part A? So when we said the speaker compares prejudice to the monument of Bunker Hill to describe the prejudice level of stubbornness, like the massive monument, he cannot be moved. Which one of those supports that answer?
Sorry, it's hard to see.
Oh, sorry.
A?
A is close,
B?
but it's, yeah, because he's kneeling in that poem. It says she's kneeling, she's hoping to move that stubborn, that obdurate ill will to leave. So there's your evidence on letter B. Good job. Okay, so the final stanza, how does it contribute to the speaker's developing point of view? Okay, remember that in the final stanza, she's finally, coming to the realization that she just needs to ignore that, like what's going on around her, right? She just needs to just go on with her life and just ignore those comments, ignore the gossip, and just get her work done. Okay, so who wants that one? Anybody? How about Elizabeth? You want to take it?
For number 5?
Yeah.
Okay, so I think it would be C.
You are right. Way to go. Yeah, she just elects to ignore him and go on. Okay, good job. All right, this first stanza, why does the speaker become impatient when blocked by the prejudice? As you know, she's got a lot of things going on in her life, many things to do. She's got all these obligations she's got to take care of, okay? Any problems with number 6? Devin, what'd you get? if you wrote in the share, help me out with if you put it in the chat. There we go. There we go. I got it. All right. If you got a number 6 that, because she's saying I got so many things to do for myself and for other people. So that has to do with obligations. Got a lot of obligations to take care of. So. Number 7 in stanza 4, what does prejudice do when the speaker tries to pass? So if you go to stanza 4, here's 1, 2, 3, 4. So she's trying to reason with this colossal mule. She starts arguing with him like a Solomon, like a wise person. But he just sits there and, you know, like a fool, just, you know, oh, you're just stupid. I don't want to listen to you. Okay. So he doesn't really fight with the speaker. Doesn't really apologize to her. Definitely doesn't let her go by. Doesn't really laugh, but he certainly does ignore her, doesn't he? All the things she tries to reason with, and he just kind of sits there. So doesn't really do much. Okay. Okay. All right. You guys, hopefully you can answer the rest of these. We talked about the figurative language that's used in this poem. I do want to look at if you look at the figurative language of, you know, because we can tell that this prejudice is personified as being this human being type of thing. And given that it's a human-like figure, humans are, you know, we are much smarter, much more intimidating. You know, we have, you know, much more intelligence than what things or might have. And being that, you know, we have all these, we lack the confidence to face some of these beings in our life. Some, you know, given that when they personify prejudice in that fashion, it makes it even scarier. And a lot of us are scared to face those conflicts in our life. And when we're discriminated against, we just kind of give up sometimes. So, and she shows that you don't want to do that. You know, you just gotta ignore the comments that are being made. You gotta ignore all the gossip, and you just gotta move on. So, and that's kind of what she did. Okay. So hopefully you can answer those. And make sure you answer the TED Talk. And you all try to get done with this today. Now that it's fresh, you know, we've discussed it. Try to get it done and turn it in today, this assignment. Don't let it dwell until, you know, the rest of the week when you got all the other assignments to do. Try to get it done today and turn it in, and that way it's finished. If you have any comments, anything you want to discuss, any questions, please don't, just give us a shout out. Hannah, Mrs. Votes, and myself are ready for questions. I haven't got very many, so make sure you guys shout those questions out, or anything you want to discuss for next week, you know, email that. Okay. So any questions, anything you guys have? Anything at all? Nothing? Okay. I'm checking my chats. Nothing here either. So you guys do great this week. get everything done, get everything caught up. Enjoy your day. Veronica, glad to see you. All right. You guys have a great one. Anything